Howdy y'all, Stock Warden here back with another video, and today we're looking at Immunity Bio Corporation and how their stock and lawsuit has been coming along with some great breakthrough news that they have had on their product Ankitva at the same time. So given in the last video that we did on Immunity Bio, they had just been served on this lawsuit that goes against them for making false claims and accusations on how well and how effective their cancer treatment system is. So that has definitely plunged the stock into a pretty hard down spiral here as of the past month. So it's not really looking all that good for Immunity Bio whenever it comes from that specific front, because they have been losing in excess of $100,000 just in specifics for the class action lawsuit in itself. They were issued a full deadline on this, so hopefully it'll be able to be brought out and they'll be able to kind of tie that loose end up, and hopefully it won't end up doing a whole lot to the company except for maybe some fines and definitely some coaching to the executive team and the specific member that made those false accusations. So, but with all of that, they ended up having a $2 billion market cap loss after that was also put in place as well. So their current market cap is at $7.5 billion. They were almost at 10 billion for their market cap. So that is another huge downstretch for Immunity Bio as well. So, but there are a little bit of news that is coming through that is showing up on a lighter side of Immunity Bio, despite the lawsuit, despite the market cap loss, and also almost forgot to mention the Q1 earnings report for 2026 on Immunity Bio. They ended up losing out a lot because whenever this lawsuit first came to fruition, they put most of all of their earnings that they had originally had in Q1. They ended up losing a huge chunk of it due to this lawsuit, because the lawsuit didn't just take your liquid assets, it was taking everything that they had, so then they can also stay afloat not only with that, but to also be able to try to save some kind of face with the shareholders that are within this company, so then the stock didn't end up plunging 50% or more. So luckily the stock hasn't moved that much. It has fluctuated between $8.50 and $7 a share. So where the stock ended today at $7.23 a share is still on a downward trend, but it seems as if they have a decent resistance line and support. So for a resistance on the top end, I would put that anywhere between $8.40 a share down to about $8.35 a share. So I'm going to draw a line in between both of those so we can kind of see and show where that is standing. Then on the bottom end for support, I would say if we kind of go back into April a little bit, we could see that they had a definite strong resistance on the bottom end anywhere between the $6.90 and the $7 a share range. So I'm going to drop a line in the middle of that as well. So this is what your support and your resistance is looking like. So back in the end of April, it bounced directly in between. In May, it made a great arch all the way up, then back down again. And then now we are here in the beginning of June at the bottom of this support as well. So, but now back to the good news that has kind of been coming in through this. They have been presenting new clinical and comparative data across lung and bladder cancer at the ASCO for 2026. So, and the ASCO is the American Society of Clinical Oncology. So they are taking part in the annual meeting, which was between May 29th and June 2nd in Chicago. So that just finished and ended today. So the presentations that they did span 2 randomized phase 3 trials. So, and they are also matched, adjusted, indirect comparison to their to multiple different products that are out there. So, in BCG unresponsive non-muscle invasive bladder cancer, so it's a very specific one that they're working on as far as that goes. But they are also collectively evaluating the Ankitva, which is the company's IL-15 receptor, which is the main immunotherapy that's designed to activate natural killer cells and memory T cells across multiple solid tumor indications, which that more or less breaks down into them stating just how well Anktiva is helping the body naturally kill cancer instead of your standard chemotherapy where the radiation is what kills the cancer. So that in itself is great news that they're going through all of that with a full 3-phase program. So they're growing this long-term survival data across bladder, lung, and other solid tumors, which is beginning to put in focus a very compelling hypothesis that restoring immune competence and addressing the lymphopenia may be as fundamental to cancer care as targeting the tumor itself. So those findings are reinforcing their conviction that the future of immunotherapy lies in activating and amplifying the immune system in the body, not suppressing it. So they are still very relevant in the medical stage and pushing forward very hard and leaning directly into everything that's coming their way. So even though this lawsuit has came in, more by the end of it, it just seems like it's going to end up being a decent side glance where they're going to be able to continue staying on track and moving forward. And H.C. Wainwright and Co. actually believes in that standpoint as well, because they are maintaining, even with all of the craziness that has ensued in the short term, they are maintaining a $15 price target and a buy rating. So just that in of itself, where they put that out as a statement yesterday. So knowing with how well Anktiva's doing, knowing the direction that they're heading into, and knowing about the lawsuit, their market cap loss, and everything all in a nutshell that we just covered over the video, they still believe that the stock is a definite buy, and maintaining a $15 price target. That means that they see the stock being 100% upside as it stands today, with a resistance line being under 850 and your bottom stock line being at $7 for the resistance on that end, they're evidently seeing something that I haven't been able to look into, because I've tried to pull up some more on this lawsuit to see kind of how long this is going to stretch out, and or if it's going to end anytime soon, or if they're planning on possibly trying to reconcile different things with the courts and or the people that brought the lawsuit to the forefront in the first place. And everything's been real hush hush with all of that, where I haven't been able to find out much information at all. So, but with all of that, and they're seeing a 100% upside target for Immunity Bio, that definitely gives me a little bit more at ease with the direction of this stock and the company and what it should be moving into, hopefully in the short term, but more than likely it'll be after this lawsuit has been completed and finalized. So, with all that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video and was able to get some more info on Immunity Bio. So, sorry I wasn't able to get all of the details on the lawsuit. It hasn't been able to come out and really bring a lot of that information to the table. Everything kind of seems like they're holding it close to their chest as of right now. But with all that being said, as soon as something does come back in, y'all know I'm going to bring it straight back to y'all, so then y'all know exactly what's going down. Well, this is the Stock Warden riding off. So y'all come back now, you hear?